Been roasted in the past about not knowing my 40k lore, being a sludgy boy, a slappity doodle, and I think that I need to get in and actually get some Warhammer lore. And this is called Why It Sucks to Be the Emperor of Mankind 40k lore. So it's a 12-minute video. We're going to see how much intrigue I'm going to get from the 40k universe.
Being born into the 40k universe essentially guarantees pain and suffering, and the Emperor of Mankind is no exception to this rule. You may think it's great to be a 12-foot-tall space Jesus, but
Jesus Christ, he's 12 foot tall? Bro was making Shaq look like a itty-bitty boy.
He's not immune to the grim darkness of the far future. Even though the Emperor is the main character, he is constantly dealing with bullshit that would make a normal person seek a therapist. Big E literally had to babysit an entire civilization to stop them from killing themselves. His baby mama called Child Protection Services and had his sons taken away, and he knew about humanity's eventual fall to chaos, but couldn't tell anyone because it'd make it worse.
Jesus Christ, he had all his kids taken away and he just knew what the fuck was gonna happen? Why couldn't he tell anybody, though? This is, like, bro, the head of the crown bears a lot of weight or some shit like that, right?
Worse. To top it all off, when he finally got his superhuman sons back, most of them were fucking useless. Some even ended up betraying him, and his favorite of the bunch literally put him in a coma. To get
Bro, this is what happens when you don't raise your own kids, bro. They come back as assholes.
Idea of how rough his life was, we have to start from the beginning. Big E's birth was relatively normal, aside from the fact that his creation was planned by some crazy shamans high on crystal meth. You see, there were some powerful shamans who were aware of the existence of the warp.
Bro, I didn't realize Dreamcast Guy created the entire universe of Warhammer 40k.
And the evil gods that dwell within it. They figured they'd need someone to fight the chaos deities, so 1,000 of them committed suicide and pulled their souls together to create Space Jesus, aka...
What? Bro, they just drank the Kool-Aid to create Space Jesus? That's how he was created? Was just like a fucking cult Kool-Aid Jim Jones action? What?
aka the Emperor. And so Big E was born. His parents were regular-ass humans that were part of the first tribes in modern-day Turkey. Growing up, he was pretty normal, until one day his father was murdered. At the funeral, the Emperor unlocks the Jedi Mind Force and finds out his uncle was...
What is this ad, dude? What the fuck is this ad, bro? Why? Why, God? Why? What the fuck was that, dude? No!
Day his father was murdered. At the funeral, the Emperor unlocks the Jedi Mind Force and finds out his uncle was the culprit. Using these same powers, he stops his uncle's heart with his mind. After that, he knows he's special.
Bro just reached into his chest with his mind powers and fucking grabbed his heart and squeezed. What the fuck? I love his little cartoons in this. This is actually kind of adorable, especially when it's talking about 40k. Because isn't it like really dark and gritty and shit too? And this is just like super sweet. This guy's a fucking McDonald's man over here. This is adorable.
And different. He realizes that these violent apes require a leader to lead them to the promised land. So he nominates himself and starts gathering other immortal beings known as perpetuals. Somewhere along the way, he meets his future baby mama, Erda, and his best friend for life, Malkador. The Emperor was...
Fucking Malkador is a badass name. That slaps so much clit, dude. That is such a cool name.
Pretty active in ancient history, fighting or leading in many wars. Eventually, he encounters the Void Dragon, which is a piece of a literal alien god. Nobody knows why the dragon was on Terra, but legend has it the Emperor fought it somewhere in modern-day Libya. He managed to defeat it, but could not kill it. At some point, he travels to Mars and imprisons the Void Dragon under the planet. Eventually, he just disappears off the face of the Earth. During his vacation, he takes one too many acid trips and foresees humanity's destruction and the existence of the Warp and Chaos gods. But he couldn't tell anyone. You see, humans are greedy and lustful bastards. Imagine if you told humanity that there are extra-dimensional beings that can bless you with incredible power and immortality if you join them. You can bet your ass there will be some idiots.
Dude, it would have put the entire world into chaos. It would have like actually had everybody fighting against each other, and Warhammer 40K would have turned into Mad Max really fucking quick. Okay. Oh, dude, the heavy is the head that wears the crown again, dude. This is just shit that they just threw on his fucking on his back, and they said, "I enjoy knowing all this," but at the same time, he knows that by telling people, because like a weaker person would have said, "Okay, I'm gonna tell a bunch of people, well, I'm gonna say this is what's happening. We need to stop this," and then a bunch of people would cause chaos, which would inevitably cause all the things he saw.
Sign up for it. This is the first reason it sucked to be Big E. He shouldered this entire burden because if he let this secret slip, most of humanity would turn against their brethren. He could only fight behind closed doors. Some might say he was an asshole for not letting them know, but his choice was the lesser of two evils. Anyway, Big E continues his life, taking different names throughout history. Once he was known as Alexander the Great, another time he was Marilyn Monroe, he was even some guy named Elon Musk once. Then these idiotic monkeys start thriving and reach a point of critical mass. This was known as the Age of Technology, where humans discovered warp travel, allowing them to colonize space. Humans also start evolving and developed psychic abilities. Just a bit before the discovery of warp travel, the Emperor left Earth on an economy-class ticket to the planet Molech. There, he discovered an entryway into the realm of chaos. Big E proceeded to have a board meeting with the four gods, and they struck up a deal. They would buff him to deity-like status and give him the knowledge to create his super sons, the Primarchs. In return, Big E would have to spread chaos to humanity like it was COVID. Obviously, the Emperor never held up his end of the bargain.
Oh, thank God, dude. Thank God. I thought he was gonna fucking slip. I thought after generations of being all these people making like small adjustments, because that's what he probably did, was he would see some like humanity going in a direction. Now, he didn't say this in the video, but I'm just making some fucking logical leaps. He'd see humanity going in a bad direction. He's like, let's swerve. Let's fucking swerve. Let's get it back on right on track. And you make like little adjustments here and there to like further mankind in a better direction. And then once he gets, and this just kind of shows how much of a badass he is and the ability to wear that crown because of all this weight on his shoulders. He is then offered what a normal human would say, fuck yeah, I want to be supreme deity. Give me this power. And he tells him fuck off. That is so cool.
Once he got what he wanted, he told the Chaos Gods to piss off. Meanwhile, on Terra, the stupid apes fuck up again. The evolved X-Men were indirectly inviting demonic incursions each time they used their psychic powers and corrupting entire planets. And then, the beloved AI that humans developed went full Skynet, making ChatGPT turn against humanity and vaporizing billions in what was known as the Cybernetic Revolt. This is the second reason it sucked to be the Emperor. He was now stronger than ever after visiting Molech, but he was still helpless and couldn't assist humanity. He was most likely still on his way back from his trip. And yeah, he could see the future, but not really in the way you think. It's more like he could see 100 different futures, with 100 different paths to reach it. How you reach it, and which future it is, would be impossible to determine. There's no way Big E could have predicted the Age of Strife. Regardless of all this, humanity...
Well, and even if he could predict the Age of Strife, there was probably a million different little things that, like, okay, so maybe the Age of Strife was always an inevitable possibility, and there's like only one way away from it, and it was something that he couldn't obtain, or there was enough things in his way to make happen that he couldn't stop it. When it comes to billions of possibilities, I mean, we've even seen it with Doctor Strange in those movies, where no matter what he did, sometimes the worst possibility plays out. Now I know that it works out for Doctor Strange, but sometimes it just doesn't.
eventually did win, but at a huge cost. You see, what was left of civilization on Terra was just apocalyptic scraps of a fallen empire, and the surviving human colonies in deep space were weakened and isolated from Terra, so they were prime targets for Xenos or demons. This is where the Emperor could finally be Space Jesus. He revealed himself as the savior of humanity, and with his huge army of Thunder Warriors that he developed through his eugenics program, he waged war to unify the fragmented tribes of Terra. But this was just the beginning. He knew he needed to reconquer all the lost...
Wait. So what I've known about Warhammer 40K is just basically it's war always. It's always war. It's always going to be war. But I didn't realize that everybody was basically dead. That without him, there would be no more humanity. I didn't realize they were that in that like dire straits. That it was like literally the influence of all these demons and everything else had caused humanity to go Mad Max mode. And without him in his eugenics program, I guess the humanity's basically fighting for their existence, period. So it's not like Starship Troopers where it's all like a parody. It's like actual they're fighting for the right to live.
Worlds to have a united front against future enemies. This project would be called the Great Crusade. And to accomplish this goal, his mentally unstable Thunder Warriors weren't going to cut it. So, the Emperor needed a contingency plan. After mixing DNA with his baby mama...
I'll need your eggs, baby. I need them eggs. Let me spread my seed on those eggs. I need some super babies.
Erda, they ended up creating 20 sons in his image. They were called the Primarchs, and would eventually
20 fucking kids? Bro, that lady's poor vagina, bro. 20 children? What the fuck? What would they have, like 10 births and 10 of them are twins or something, and then it's 20? Or like that's awful, but at least that seems doable. This bitch was probably having kids until she had to go through menopause.
To be powerful generals that would lead his armies. But, as in all great cosmic dramas, co-parenting proved to be a nightmare. See, the Emperor decided Erda was no longer needed, so he divorced her from the family tree. Furious at his plans to turn their sons into...
What? Bro just fucking dips out on his wife? Terrible fucking dad.
War machines for galactic conquest, Erda took drastic action. She summoned a warp vortex to yeet the Primarchs across the galaxy in a last-ditch effort to save them, then disappeared without a trace. Well, fuck. There goes Plan A. This is the third reason it sucked to be the Emperor. The women he trusted most in the world betrayed him. And
well, I mean, he divorced her first, so is it really a betrayal after he already betrayed her? Like, I mean, if we're gonna get real about this shit, he did divorce her. I mean, yeah, turning his kids into the fucking ultimate warriors to save the universe is kind of fucked, but at the same time, it seems like humanity's didn't have a lot of other choices, so I don't know.
He literally lost 20 of his sons to the depths of deep, dark space. All his life, he wanted a family, and now all he had left was his ashy and wrinkly best friend. Luckily, there was a plan B. He still had genetic material from his Primarchs, so Big E used that to create the warriors known as the Space Marines. The issue was the Emperor still had the Thunder Warriors. Now, you obviously can't have the old employees mixing with the new hires, so the Emperor did what any other great CEO would. He laid them off. But instead of collecting unemployment benefits, the Thunder Warriors were buried 6 foot underground.
Dear God, dude, he fucking scourged them. He was like, listen here, eugenic babies, I'm gonna kill you all. Bro, this is savage.
Anyway, with his new super soldiers, Big E hops on a ship and goes on a great crusade. His goal was to claim back every human world, from pretenders or aliens. It was essentially a space genocide, forcing every human colony to bend the knee and convert to the imperial truth or face annihilation. Along the way, he rediscovers his lost Primarchs. He always knew his sons were alive somewhere because he could hear them faintly through the warp. Of the 20 sons the Emperor handcrafted, 2 were straight up dead. As for the rest, oh, they were a work in progress.
Well, and the sad thing is, like, as much as that mom saw, like, hey, this is a good thing, I'm protecting my kids by sending them across the universe, she got 2 of them killed in this act. So, yeah, it would have sucked being, like, the ultimate weapon for the fucking space god daddy. At least they had a higher chance of survival than fucking this.
Kurz, he was a walking PSA for psychological counseling. He was a schizophrenic sadist who thought murdering entire populations counted as art therapy. Magnus, he was arrogant and wouldn't shut the fuck up about how he did nothing wrong.
So basically, the mom fucked all of these kids by sending them to parentless homes, and they turned into little schizo assholes, is what I'm getting.
Marry a mirror. Lorgar was a religious nut.
Like, they're all schizo fucking assholes.
Fulgrim was so in love with himself, I'm surprised he didn't marry a mirror. Lorgar was a religious nut. Perturabo was the galaxy's grumpiest goth with an inferiority complex. Meanwhile, Mortarion and Angron were so consumed by daddy issues that forgiving anyone, including themselves, was a concept more alien than a Terranid invasion. And then there's Horus, who decided ambition was a personality trait and ran with it. The Lion? He was too prideful, moody, and unforgiving. Ferris? Poor guy couldn't quite keep a good head on his shoulders. The Khan was indecisive, had commitment issues, and allergic to any kind of group chat. Vulcan was so self-sacrificing it's a miracle he didn't build a campfire and jump into it for fun. Dorn? A stubborn old bastard that would never think outside the box. Russ? Simultaneously the most obedient golden retriever and the most impulsive bull. Sanguinius was too sensitive for this world. And Gilliman? So annoyingly modest. You'd swear he's running a PR campaign called I'm Just a Chill Guy. And finally, Alfarius and Corax. Good luck finding them. One's hiding, and the other's so emo he disappeared into his own shadow. This was the fourth reason it absolutely sucked.
Dude, so because he didn't raise these kids, because nobody raised these kids, they all became fucking shitty, and they all have a ton of issues, and humanity's fucked because his one thing that he knew that would help humanity, he finally came out of hiding to help, and then his wife was like, I'm gonna eat our kids into the endless bounds of space.
To be the emperor.
Great fucking parenting, by the way.
He had kids, but they were dysfunctional. And the best part was Big E knew. He knew these kids were disasters waiting to happen, which is why he kept chaos a big, fat secret. He figured if he told them about the warp, they'd immediately start poking around and eventually be tempted by the ruinous powers. Joke's on him, though. Some of them still fell to chaos anyway. Turns out, when you make a bunch of overpowered demigods with unresolved trauma and no parental guidance, the ruinous powers don't have to try very hard to sell their free gifts with corruption package. And some of these Primarchs really bought into the cosmic sales pitch.
Bro, he's gonna come in her. That's what's gonna happen. Do you see how well he drew those tits? They're the perfect amount of lumpy.
In particular, Horus Lupercal was the most ambitious fuck out there. He kicked off the Horus heresy because he figured he'd make a better space Jesus. Horus even talked some of his brothers into swapping sides with promises of better work benefits. But Magnus the Arrogant? He didn't need much sweet-talking, but he wasn't always the bad guy. You see, early on he found out about Horus's scheme and decided to snitch to Big E. But, as usual, Magnus couldn't do anything right. Instead of a simple text message, he Kool-Aid manned straight through the webway, trashed the Golden Throne, which was basically the Emperor's space Lambo, and bailed when it all went to hell. He was so scared of being scolded that he ran like a bitch and never told Big E about the attempted coup.
Bro.
Naturally, Big E sent the Space Wolves to bring him.
Bro, so this reminds me a lot of oh god, what, like Hamilton? No, dude, Julius Caesar. This is very Julius Caesar. This is very Rome inspired. It's honestly some dude who's like, I really like Star Wars, and I really like, I actually don't know what came first, Star Wars or 40K. Let me know in the comments below. I really like Star Wars, and I really, really, really like Rome. Let's make something together with it, and then this is what happened. This is sick. I'm fucking vibing with this, dude. This is so cool.
Back. Magnus, wallowing in guilt, ghosted everyone, shut off his comms, and decided his screw-up meant the Thousand Sons had to pay the ultimate price. With Magnus on airplane mode, Leman Russ took it as a kill-on-sight order after Horus hacked his iPhone. The result was Prospero burning, Magnus getting wrecked in a duel, and his soul shattered into pieces. Magnus thinks he's beyond redemption in the eyes of the Emperor and ultimately turns to chaos. Anyway, the rebellion is in full swing. Some Primarchs die, hundreds of thousands of Space Marines die, billions of humans die. The Emperor eventually kills his traitorous son Horus, but it comes at a huge cost. This is the fifth reason it sucked to be the Emperor. He tried his best to give his sons as many chances to succeed as possible, but the ungrateful bastards spat in his face. Some ended up getting murdered. Some turned into demon princes, and some just disappeared altogether. All he got as a reward was to be the most overqualified life support patient, permanently welded to the Golden Throne.
Jesus, dude. All of his sons fucking sucked. None of them were cool. They all wanted him. They all decided we're gonna make you die, and then froze him to the fucking, now he's on life support. This is insane. Now I knew some of this for when I made my Warhammer our bolt gun video, because I watched like a 1-minute breakdown of the Horus Heresy. But this is way more information.
The sixth and final reason it sucked to be the Emperor is even though he was the most powerful human psyker, could see parts of the future and had legit plot armor, he still couldn't save his sons or humanity. At best, he stalled the impending doom of the human race at the costs of trillions of lives. You just can't win in the grim dark universe of 40K. That concludes today's episode.
Dude, so that's kind of crazy. We're gonna have to watch more of this because, like, I really like his animation style. I like what he was able to do. This was fun. It was interesting. It wasn't just me listening to fucking boring lore forever. I liked all the drawings he did. It was adorable. He gets to subscribe. Check out Grimdoc. This is just really interesting to me that this dude was like slowly working to stop all of the fucking death of the humanity. And what ended up being his biggest Achilles heel was his main fucking trump card that he created all these children and then they got him killed. That's so nuts. That's so nuts, dude. I honestly am really interested in this 40K stuff now. I've been wanting to get more interested into it because, like, there's supposed to be a TV show coming with Henry Cavill, and he, like, loves this shit, so it might actually be good. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. For right now, that was a good video. I fucking feel a little smarter after watching it, which is hard for me to do because I'm an absolute idiot. I got retard status on high. Retard status on high. But yeah, that is the fucking why it sucks to be the Emperor of Mankind. It seems like he probably could have done a little more, but also what could have he done?